Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another DMing Hadley game. Tonight, we're playing the Withering Willow, a Feywild campaign. Very exciting. And last time we saw our intrepid adventurers, they had just met Santa Claus. Well, not technically the Santa Claus that we all think of, the commoditized, uh, whitewashed guy that he is in like the Norman Rockwell Coca-Cola commercial sort of Santa Claus. Now this guy is Kris Kringle. He is a legendary individual in his own right for sure, and a member of the Unseelie or Winter Court. But he's not what we're dealing with tonight. No. He's going to have a nice little conversation with Phileas and with Shiny. And the two of you are going to be out and about in town. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's like for all of us. This is, since I try and get good about mentioning the episodes, this is season 2, episode 8, and I have entitled this one "The Northern Lights." And I'm pumped. I'm not gonna bloviate. I think that's all the bloviating. I don't even think that was bloviating. I think I was just trying to give you guys a bit of a recap. So I guess we should get right to the rounder robin. Now, before we get carried away, during the rounder robin, we like to do four distinct things. The first thing that we do is introduce ourselves. The second thing we do is share with one another and the world our pronouns. The third thing we do is introduce our characters. And the fourth and final thing we do is offer a vivid aesthetic description of our characters so that they may live in each and every one of our brain holes, because I like to vividly hallucinate with my friends 7 days a week, often multiple times per day, and today is no different. So, without further ado, Finn, why don't you take it away and show the folks at home how it's done?
Hello, I'm Finn, they, them, and I play Portobello Violet Tiddlywink.
Mm-hmm.
Tiddly, not tit. She has big boobs, but it's not in her name. Um,
Yes,
it was,
agreed. It's not about. It's
okay.
not about how big her tits are. Okay.
It's about how big her heart is.
Yeah, which is about the size of her tits.
True. Um,
All three of which are huge. Not the tits, the two tits and one heart.
um, uh, yeah, she's a furbolg druid. She very tall. She like 8 foot. Very big,
Mm-hmm.
very thick, chubby,
Mm-hmm.
squishy round. Very huggable. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like memory foam mattress. Very-
I like that.
um, she has lavender skin and dark purple, like almost black, but like still like purple. Hair and eyes, very long, wavy hair. Um, she has round glasses, and should I do like I did come up with a winter outfit? Should I do that now, or should we like incorporate that into the?
Go. Let's go ahead and see it. Let's go ahead and see
Okay.
it, cause I also think that's gonna be like the first thing on the before you guys even get back out the door from Kris Kringle's place. He's going to provide you with appropriate garb. And I don't know if you know how quick elves work, but
Okay, how does it work? Because Santa elves do not look like D&D elves. So what?
that is
So
correct.
In this world, are Santa's elves like a sub race of elves, or are they actually like halflings? Because that's what they kind of look like.
They, yeah, I mean, most elves don't consider them elves, but fundamentally, they're like a hybrid elf gnome race. They consider themselves elves. They'll never refer to themselves as anything else. So yeah, if y'all are expecting some like Keebler elves and some Legolas elves, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get them. You can catch them all. The wood elves, the moon elves, the high
Okay,
elves.
so it's like did in bards the Gleegees bred themselves from the gnomes?
Yeah.
Did the short elves bred themselves from the tall elves?
Yeah. The Gleegi were sort of selective breeding. In this case, it's just sort of like one elf gnome kid and then another elf gnome kid, and it was like, wait, there's weird like this, like could we? And they're like, yeah, sure. But then there was like more gnome elf sort of, and eventually you end up with a whole culture, and in this case, biologically different version. But they just consider themselves elves. They're just elves.
Hmm,
Yeah,
very interesting.
yeah.
This really tickles my fancy. I love evolution.
Oh, for sure, absolutely,
I love me some
absolutely.
science.
Yeah, yeah. Half gnome, half elf, all elf. So
Okay,
so
so
yeah, I'm gonna need to see that outfit. Is all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
because of Pinterest board.
show me the fit.
Okay, so I got a couple different ones. I don't know. To keep with the brown color palette. So okay, um, so she has the mushroom hat that looks like a portobello mushroom, and they're like a
Yes,
brown and tan. So to keep with
yes.
that color palette, there's like this one,
Oh,
or as then I found
oh,
this one, and I was like, this one has more bows. So
amazing.
like yeah, I like the more
Oh,
bows.
wow.
But if we wanted to go with pink, I did find a pink one.
Wow. Wow.
And then I found these where the boots because they come in pink, but then like I like these boots, but like maybe just like maybe like a more tan to match
Amazing.
this. And then of
Amazing.
course some like knitty socks and like
This
and
is great.
and I did find these mittens. They don't match, so I don't think they actually are part of the outfit. But I want to share them anyways because they're cute. This one's strawberries. This one's
I like
cherries.
them. I like them too.
Mm.
I like them too. Yeah, I really like this sort of shearling situation. Love that trim. That's not bad. That's not bad. No, I like that. I like that very much. Um, Sweet. Cool. Anything else for Portobello?
Um, no, I don't think so.
Cool. All right, Ben, take it away.
Oh, damn it! It's too short. It's too short with two people. I need a
It's
bigger
so much. Yeah,
range.
no, you got to get like right to it.
Oh my god damn it! I either have to be pushed into it, right at the start, or I have a lineup of three people in front of me to be prepared to do it.
Oh, not hey,
But
bud. Hey, bud. If it makes you feel any better, you do also have to come up with a winter outfit.
that's easy for Ty. Well, so speaking of which, so hey and hello everybody. My name is Ben. I prefer in the English, in the beautiful English language. My goodness, it's hard
You
to
could do
talk
it.
today. Um,
Mommy, maybe mash my
well,
M&Ms. Mommy,
bear
maybe
with
mash
me.
my
I
M&Ms.
was released from a hospital today. Um,
The
so I prefer in
asylum.
the
That's
beautiful English
nuts.
language the pronouns they them, and in this format here, the Withering Willow, I have the distinct pleasure of portraying a certain type. And well, my name. I guess you can call me Tithe. I do not really have a name these days, but Well, at least none that I could remember. Who am I? Well, I am the nature-inclined man with blind guy of physical mind that is quite socially identified. um, I'm I'm sorry. Um, I do this when I got anxious, and that is still better than me becoming angered. Me, it steers when the rage creeps in. So let's just hope it will never wake. And instead of the optional physical description, I have a little bit of something else.
Do
Pain can
tell.
turn out to be quite isolating. When it comes to you so naturally as that you are barely able to make the distinction between a state of pain and having none of it, your mind will have to change, and the body soon follow this pathway. To survive it is to adapt. This adaptation might leave you in a lonely room of your own making, confined, windowless, and the door with no way to open. At the start, a refuge, a way to hide from your pain, it quickly can turn into a prison. But for those with the courage to find their keys and turn them, they might learn that pain can be shared, and beyond being not quite so lonely, they can find themselves breathing a little easier.
You still got to do the aesthetic description.
I know. Um, so I I cannot share the image of Tithe, unfortunately, that I have in characters. But it's not that far off that. It's just a kilt with fur trim. That's it.
You're gonna need more than that. You're gonna need more than that, or you are going to freeze. Unless you are impervious to cold, you're gonna be making
Oh god damn
Constitution
it.
saving throws every 5 to 10 minutes of exposure, and it is still late at night, or at
You
least it
cannot
was.
force him to wear clothes.
I can't, but I can force him to make Constitution saving throws.
Damn it.
Portobello's wrestling him to clothes like a toddler.
I love that. And now, do you know what? You know what? Since that's the case, you are now wearing the snowsuit from A Christmas Story. Congratulations.
I know which one you mean, but if it had to be, oh, that's so beautifully mismatched that I really like the idea. Do you know? Do you know the big fur fur inlaid coat of Bane of the Dark Knight Rises?
I had very much a crisp vision of you in shearling. It's a go-to. It's been easy. It's an easy pull. But you should have chosen that instead, and then saved yourself from being stuffed into a down snowsuit of maroon and having a scarf wrapped around you violently by Portobello Tiddlywinks.
I
It's
just
all
love
about choices and outcomes.
I just love the idea of the Bane's coat on top, also just being a little open still,
Yeah,
and then the coat is long. It goes above halfway to the thighs, I believe, when Bane wears it, and just having coat and kilt. It's I love that.
I
Oh.
like.
What
I
about
love that.
scarves? I need to find a cottage core scarf now.
Yes, please and thank you. I also love that you're in a situation where you're like, I don't wear clothes. You're gonna get frostbite. You should have been making Constitution saving throws the whole walk over, but I was not inclined to make that voyage any more difficult. But if you if your hands had not already been blackened by the darkness creeping into you, they certainly would have been from frostbite.
Hey, it's blood, not darkness.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same source.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's blood. It's blood on your hands
Yeah, it's
from an
very.
encroaching darkness.
That is the thought here. It's blood on their hands,
Yes.
and quite much of it. Because if you would calculate how much iron do you need to theoretically blood forge hands,
Yeah.
that's a lot of blood.
It's about 1,000 people. One might suggest. Depending on how deep it seeps in. I saw it takes about 430 people
Yeah.
to forge a sword from the blood of your enemies. So
that was exactly what I wanted to point out. I have a friend who is a metallurgist,
Mhm.
and he calculated what you need on the basis of like a normal functioning sword
right.
of considerable length and usability.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, if you would
You're
if
looking
you
at
would
just shy
think,
of a kilo of
yeah,
iron.
and if you would think of it from the perspective of like a crazed emperor,
Yeah.
who would have made this kind of idea, 500 people, give or take, not that
It's
much.
not that many people. You could
Not that many
be
people.
one small battle, and it could be the blood of your enemies and the people you sent to kill them.
Yeah, you just put 500 people in an arena which ground is just a sieve.
Yeah, there you go. That's the idea. Finn,
I found
you found it.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
mushroom scarf.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, bug done it too.
I love the buttons.
But honestly, and taking joking aside, I have no problem if you two or going out from Finn or going out from Hadley want to would put Tithe into a specific outfit. But I also have I have no problem with him wearing the thick Bane coat
Sure.
and a fur-trimmed kilt under that.
I think that might be the like Portobello comes out with a 7 foot tall snowsuit, and Chris looks over at you and is like, well, what do you think? You have to wear something. If you don't wear something, the dungeon master will make you make Constitution saving throws constantly.
Just going into full
Yeah,
metaverse.
full force. You're like, what the who?
I do not quite understand what you're saying, and very shyly in front of this individual of legendary renown, and goes over to Portobello, holding the outfit and just taking the scarf of it that we just seen and
Nice.
wrapping the scarf on. I will take this beautiful scarf, and thank you, Portobello.
He says, you could wear my coach coat.
So wait a minute.
Oh
Wait a
yeah.
minute.
Oh yeah.
So, Quingle going out to town looks like Bane?
Yeah. He's got style. Are you kidding me? Could you imagine?
Are you saying that Chris Kringle is Bane?
I'm not saying out loud that Chris Kringle is Bane.
Not out loud. He doesn't not.
He sips from a huge mug of hot chocolate, and then slurps whipped cream and hot cocoa from his white mustache.
Yeah, so Tyth goes to the code he points out, maybe more to the entrance on a code rack, and just opens the code, and like Bane under it, there's just a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, it's mithril. It's mithril is
Myth-
what it is.
and
Uh,
Tyth looks
yeah.
at looks at it, looks over his shoulder at Kringle,
You
but
never
takes just
know
the
what
code.
you'll come up against out there. He says, and you should be mindful to cover your nether regions. The Eleutians are about eye level with your groin.
What he like Tyth would wear the kilt that just
Does
I think
he
last
have a
episode.
does Tithe have a kilt in his inventory that happens to be fur lined, or is he going to have to borrow Chris Kringle's
You
fur
allow
lined kilt?
you allowed Portobello last session to make
Sure.
outfits for everybody.
Portobello, did you make a fur lined kilt?
And how much time did we have in the moon to be
Uh
making all this stuff?
I will say first, it doesn't take very long to make a kilt because it's just a blanket, a quilted or a pleated blanket. But I don't. I think that Tight's resistance to clothing in general probably prohibited a significant investiture of your time and energy and resources to creating a fur kilt. Now you can make one right.
Objection!
You can
You are
make one.
misleading.
San,
Unbelievable.
Chris Kringle looks over at Tithe again. He says, "You don't want the matching pants?" And there sure as hell are behind the jacket. You just thought it was just one long thing. You see some wax shearling pants as well.
And looking at it, and from there into the room. I I fear that is not quite my style. If there is something like that, anyhow.
Uh, he looks over and says, "Do you want to borrow my fur-lined kilt?" It feels amazing against my junk.
and um and Tithe goes back to Portobello, looks at him, and looks up to Portobello, and well, the the item is quite inspiring, but maybe I could ask you to we have something similar.
I'm telling you,
I
you're
wouldn't
missing out. He sticks a big slurp of hot chocolate.
I wouldn't quite dare to approach a person of your magnitude and to lend something so personal of them.
He looks over. He says, "It's not like you've got a wang to rub on the inside of it."
And it just five looks like this. And doesn't say
What?
nothing.
Well, and he reaches into his velvet robe, produces a small flask, and proceeds to unscrew it. And as he pours it, you see a swirl of clear and brown liquid, two different liquids sort of pouring at the same time, as if the flask itself is vivisected into two sections.
Interesting.
And then he sort of cleans off and tightens it up and throws it back in, and Much better. Hang on. And then he grabs the glass with his other hand, and you begin to see it warm. And steam starts to rise off it again, and he goes, ah. And you can smell from the heat applied to this beverage a delicious sort of whiskey and peppermint schnapps. Seems he's got a quick draw solution for hot chocolate on hand.
I don't know how it is for Bolabella, but Tithe would encounter alcohol for the first time, taking out um, the individual they met at the fire in the snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And his name was?
I didn't note it down, unfortunately.
It is Takret.
Okay, still don't.
Here, I will simply copy and paste it. Beep, 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 beep. Along with a little translation there. You wanted to go see your boy though?
Where I was I? Yeah. Um, so I do believe there's a concept of it for Tithe, but I don't think that that prior to this moment he had much contact with people consuming alcohol.
Sure.
Just for I would assume it being a rare thing to come across in the Feywild.
Um, roll me a wisdom check, not a saving throw, just a wisdom check.
Yeah, not terribly. I will use. No, 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 no. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no.
No, no, no. Yes, yes. And I will use the D&D Beyond die
Sure.
system in the hope it will not fuck me like it usually does.
Yeah, that's very optimistic of you.
Hot damn, that's a good start. That's a 5.
There's you start getting that. You start getting the yum yums.
Okay.
And now between the warm hot cocoa and the swirl of whipped cream, which you see Santa grab a vessel like this, turn it upside down, and then and the warm cream and the chocolate aroma and the scotch and the peppermint schnapps are you are just having this visceral, almost animalistic response to it.
Mm.
And he looks up and then he just squirts a little whipped cream into his mouth and he says, "Do you want some?"
Still being an individual that tries to stand in front of the people they have met that have been good to him, one of the very few positive experiences they have made. I would think Hive tries to let Polabella take the lead and just going from her decision and trying. trying that.
Thank you, but I don't drink alcoholic beverages.
No, no worries. I can make it with just hot chocolate.
All right, thank you.
No, certainly, certainly. And he starts to get up and strode over to towards the kitchen. His chair sort of rocking still as he gets up, and he says, "Jessica, Jessica, darling," and you see quite possibly the most beautiful woman you have ever cast eyes upon walk into the room. She's wearing a red robe as well. This one of silk and trimmed more in like ermine than wolf pelt. She is, I believe the word is voluptuous. And appears to be many years his junior. And he sort of like offers up his mug and says, "Darling, would you be so kind as to provide our guests with fresh hot chocolate? No one makes it like you do." And he winks at her, and she blushes, and she looks to the two of you, and she perks up, and her hair looks like someone spent 6 hours like constructing this masterpiece. Um, it is white, most of it, except for the thin trails of red and auburn which linger in her hair, and she reaches up. She says, "I'll be glad to see you taken care of in just a moment, dearies." And she reaches over and pinches Chris's cheek, and then she leans forward and she says, "That's how I locked you down, isn't it?" And she leans forward and pats his belly, and then they sort of nuzzle noses as he chuckles with glee. Uh,
Voluptuous.
Voluptuous,
Really? Really?
curvaceous,
Voluptuous. Hmm. Yes.
curvaceous.
Those
Uh,
are not attributives. In this context, those are pawn categories.
uh,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, she's a bombshell. She's
Oh my
immense.
god.
She's not skinny, but from head to toe, everything about her is exceptionally beautiful. Speaking of which, she turns around. You can see her little kitten heel slippers with ermine straps across, and she sort of sways away and back into the kitchen, and you hear Chris Kringle. He goes. And he turns around and oh, you caught me lacking. Um, yes. She'll be back momentarily. Do join me, won't you? And he gestures. The room in here is very rustically appointed. There's a polar bear skin rug in the middle of the room, with that head points towards the front door to give an ominous sort of appearance to it. But the furniture itself is heavy, dark wood and overstuffed cushions, and it looks like you could have just pulled the curtains down and turned them into pillows for as fancy as they are. And there's actually sort of an eat-in nook towards the back of this room. And if you look down, you can see the corridor that leads down to the kitchen, and you can see Jessica as she is and whisking fresh milk on the stove.
Did we ever decide on what type's wearing? I'm still thinking about it. We never did.
That is a good question. Do you have anything on your nether regions?
I mean, he had billowy harem pants with a sash tied around his
Okay.
waist before. So
Okay.
if it has not been replaced at this point by a kilt, that's what he would be wearing.
We might have to go. We might have to go kilt shopping. I'm okay with the idea of a kilt. You're gonna need. You might need some. You might need some moccasins, though. Your feetsies will turn blacker than they already are.
Fair.
Yeah, he gestures for you to go. Come now, sit. Jessica will be back in just a moment.
Yeah, poor Bella will go sit.
Okay. As you sit down, so cozy. It's so cozy in here. There's a fire behind Chris on his right, and a big couch on the other side of the polar bear skin rug. And he leans forward and takes another big sip and cleans his mustache off. He says, "So, I hate to be so blunt, but what are you doing here?" And he smiles curiously.
We have to see the Winter Court about what has happened to the Archfey Willow.
Well, what has happened to the Archfey Willow?
He is passing away.
He spills, his cup slips from his, they're not out of his hand completely, but just sort of out of his grip, sloshing cocoa and whipped cream and little green and red sugar crystals onto the polar bear's face, and he, oh my god, and he reaches over and wipes it off the table and sets it down. He's he's dying. Was he sick?
Okay, I guess would Portobello know anything prior to
Um,
the campaign beginning? Like,
um, the roll me a history check. We'll start with that, and I will say that anything you know will be hearsay.
While Portobello is contemplating, Tarjan jumps in and is just saying, with with a dire expression on their face. And if you are considering large parts of the Feywild collapsing and succumbing to a kind of darkness that is ever encroaching, then yes, Willow has been sick for quite some time now, and it is becoming worse. Even the cold, even one of the sister cohorts of yours, the Summer Cold, is under egregious assault.
He sets his cup down And he begins to rub his mustache and his chin. He says, "The summer court is faltering too. Dark days that we live in." And then he sort of looks towards the window to the right, and he says, "Well, most of the days are dark up here, but dark for everyone else, it seems. What what do you think you'll accomplish by seeing the Unseelie Court?"
Out of character, I don't remember what we have to see them about. Phileas is keeping track of that.
You can just answer that. That is an okay answer. If in character you think that Portobello is like, "I'm along for the ride, man. I'm just here to help make sure that my friends get their buddy back."
I think thought on his would be as he's raising his blood forged hands in quotations here. Um, he's just saying, sometimes darkness needs to meet darkness.
He leans back in his chair and puts his hands atop his big round belly, and he becomes ponderous. He says, "The hmm, your presence here will not go unnoticed for long, especially if you are tasked with such a significant quest. But Queen Mab is not to be trifled with. She cannot be bossed around, and she is quick to anger. If you believe that she is part of the reason that Willow is fading, do everything in your power to avoid an accusation."
I don't think any of the members of any court would be the cause. It would. I. It just. It. The impact that it has. It just. I don't. I don't think it could be. I'm not sure actually why we have to go to the winter court, but the summer court sent us to the moon. And let me look at my notes. What was her name?
Sehanin.
And Sehanin sent us here. So I just assume that the winter court can help in some way.
He sort of rubs up under his nose, trying to stifle. Portobello is pretty insightful, right?
Yeah, were passive or like right?
Yeah, just passively. You can see he's sort of stifling a not quite a snarl, but the look on his face is a little unsettling, as you suggest that the Unseelie Court might help you.
Oh well, I mean, I'm not sure why else we would have to see them. Not, I mean, it's not like we would fight them. That would just lead to our deaths. I
Oh, it would, yes, certainly. He sort of goes back into sort of a ponderous mode. let me do this for you, please. Stay. Stay here with me. I enjoy the company and hospitality of my home, and enjoy the town as well. Albuk is a beautiful little outpost, and we would be grateful to have you as guests for as long as it makes sense for you. And when you are ready, I will introduce you to the court. How does that sound?
Oh, all right. I
I am
have.
and, just to his questions, Tyler's answer would be, having very solemnly followed this exchange between Portobello and Kringle, he would just answer to that after his long silence. I'm just here to protect them.
An important task laid on your shoulders for sure. Two of you, hmm, guardians, guardians of these fine folk, and protectors of Willow as well, it seems. Your compatriots are fortunate to have you. And his disposition sort of lightens a little bit.
Oh, I have another piece of information that might be useful.
Certainly, my dear.
When when we first when group went to see Willow, he gave us a seed that contained his essence. I assume I'm not a follower of Willow Filius's, so they should be and talking about this. But when we brought, was it actually the summer cord? Or was it the spring cord? Are those two separate things or the same one?
It's the Sealy Court, and the lines between those are blurred. I believe the Summer Court is more appropriate.
Yeah. So if you speak about colds, it basically Sealy colds can be everything that is related to the idea of the Sealy, and the two major or big ones would be like spring and summer, and summer is the predominant one. It's the one that people are thinking about if you say Sealy cold, and it's usually one that is said that Titania and Oberon rule over. Sometimes you have like Titania with Summer and Oberon um, cast away in an outbreak of disagreement between two of them. Oberon being at a spring court, but basically it's the summer court for all
Uh,
intents and
the
purposes.
way I liked to think about it is that there's the inner circle and the outer circle, and so you have Titania, Oberon, and their children, and Skelly, and those are the like inner circle. And then the outer circle is everybody else, and so that's really what comprises the spring court, the summer court being the inner circle, and then yes, to your point, I think it is Oberon who sort of is the tiebreaker for the spring court, and ultimately Titania is the queen of those courts.
Oh, oh, bend what I was saying, character. Um, so we brought when we went to go bring the seed to the Sealy Court to, I guess, learn what to do. It was taken away by a guard, and we haven't seen it since.
That is deeply troubling. Do you have any knowledge as to why it was taken and why it was not given over to the queen immediately?
No, Titania didn't seem to even know about it. If she did, it was not brought up. So I'm not sure what happened to it because when it was taken, I wasn't nearby and I was taken elsewhere from Phileas, who was holding it. So I have no idea.
Hmm.
With a dark, angered expression, and exposing some of the slightly fanged teeth. Type just grumbles and saying, "I guess would be corruption."
He reaches into his beard and starts to massage it uncomfortably. And he turns his chair and hunkers forward, holding his mug of hot cocoa. And as he turns, you hear, "Your hot cocoa's ready." And you hear the little kitten heels tap dance across the floor as she shuffles between the two of you, and then leans over the couch and produces two reasonably sized mugs of hot cocoa, and then she bounces over to the table where that canister is, and she turns around and says, "Whipped cream."
That this person bounces instead of walks.
Oh man, you guys know the movie Robots?
Yeah,
It's so
not
good.
quite that thick. But you would. I mean, the way that she moves would suggest that the only thing she has on is this robe. Um,
Oh,
I
that's so descriptive.
and she leans forward, the ermine collar cut low, and a little squirt for you. She turns to Portobello. Got a big squirt for you. And she gets back up, and she goes onto each of the ends of your noses. And she says, "You just let me know if you need anything else." And she turns around and she says, "Quit brooding, you big lug." And he mm, sort of waves her off as he peers into the fireplace.
This is not Hadley describing a scene. This is Hadley selling an experience.
It is quite the experience in here. You can see the back of Chris Kringle's head, like flexing as he's thinking, and he turns around and he says, "So, hmm, you have quite the task at hand now, don't you? You have to," and he starts to list off, "locate Willow's essence. Um, and do you have any leads on where that could be?"
No,
No. What about the guard? He must have provided some information about where he sent the seed, right?
I wasn't in the room. You would have to ask Phileas. I believe they were the only one who
Hmm.
heard them.
Interesting, interesting. So the summer court is fading, under attack. Willow is flagging, and you've been sent on a goose chase. do this if you can. Stay the night. Relax. I'm sure that Phileas and Shiny will be back soon enough. Make yourselves at home. Um, Jessica has already prepared rooms for you, and from the kitchen she waves. Um, and in the morning, well, what passes as morning around here, we will get up and we will go into town and see if we can't make some friends and put out some feelers. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Excellent. Excellent. Please, fortunately, the beds around here are extra large, so the two of you should be fine in your accommodations.
I don't want to make any decisions for Ben, but I feel like Typh would not want to be away from Portobello. I think he'd want to be in the same room because he's just a protective guard dog.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very accurate assumption.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I
They
think
can
that
have
if
sleepover. They can build a fort and have
uh,
stories.
yes, I'm here for it. As the two of you take your hot cocoa to bed, we see Jessica as she strides back into the yeah.
Just in a way, our tithe would turn back to Kringle, and before he meets up again with the both of them at the door, saying to him, out of the dark brooding stance he had at the end of this discussion, not quite a guardian. And when Kringle maybe
Hmm.
looks a little puzzled, Tarf nods to Portobello. She's a guardian. I'm a dog on a leash, so I have no
Hmm.
problem with hunting something down.
He says, then trust the old sniffer, good boy.
And he flashes the teeth when he says, "I intend to."
He raises his cup and gives it a big slurp. And as you proceed, the hall, the wing that you guys are staying on, is actually connected to this room. As big as the space is, it has a very homey sort of feel to it. There's wood paneled walls and a low trellis, or not trellis, what am I looking for? Like beamed ceiling. And as you walk down the hall, you see, well, you don't see, but we do. As Portobello goes into the room and then invites Tithe inside, she goes, naughty, naughty. And you hear Chris say, easy there, girl, and give her a little pat on the rump before we see the door close. Um,
Do I hear that? Because I want to think of Christmas
no,
Savant.
no, it's just a little. Just it's not a. He doesn't.
I
You
just
don't
want to
give
be
it.
like,
You don't
just
give
want
it
to be
to her.
like, lesbian.
But just a little hey there, how are you, darling? For old time's sake.
I just realized how maybe the exterior affecting of both Tithe and Portobello suggests some level, and maybe even for some people a high one at that, of sexuality, just by the looks of them.
Sure.
But they both being as unsexual in most of their
In
of their being as
so
possible.
far.
But just because like oh they're gonna have sex and then they're just like fucking in like a pillow fort.
Yeah, and that's the transition is that we see you guys now in a take the king size sheet and set up. There's the room inside here is pretty spacious. It has its own little potbelly stove and a pile of wood, and there's a desk, and there's a chair, and there's a vanity with a separate chair, and so we see over the mirror on one side. And over the two chairs on the other, and then over the bed, this king size sheet draped. And Portobello, we can see your hat poking up through that sheet as well, and just the shape of it draped over. And what does your little sleepover fort look like inside?
I don't know what the room has provided, but Portobello is definitely a lover of plushies.
Yeah, there's no shortage of. Do you like set up a little tea set with the stuffed animals? Okay. Uh, I like this. I
This
like
is
this.
true MLM WLW solidarity.
uh,
I think that helping without any hesitation by construction and being a hand towards Portobello's efforts. At the final moment when it's all constructed, there is a showing of Ty's aversion to confined spaces. And they just have a flash on imagery, not really a memory, just the picture of a dark red lighted environment, and in this dark red light, close on close, just weird, cryogenically looking pots. And in those pots, in those confined spaces, just this shadowy outline of humanoid individuals. Just just rows of them in those red pots. Sure. And just this flesh, and then he's looking at the confined innards of this fort, and with a big gulp, just saying, "If it would not be too much of a displeasure, I think I will guard the entrance."
Oh, all right.
They pass by, and he just sits down at the entrance of the pillar fort.
Yeah, it does sort of stretch all the way to the door. And I think we see as you move away from the middle of the room and closer to the door, you haven't moved like much farther away from anybody, or there's just a tea set and a table, and you two with your big hot cocoa mugs. But it very clearly expresses a, a sense of solitude and removal, withdrawal, and Portobello. It's that comes through in spades. You like Tithe was sitting across from you, and y'all having a good time. And now he's sort of behind you to your right against the door, and that's It's a small change, but it's a huge one.
I just imagine this pillar fort just like a little bit out of the. I don't know if one of you have seen it, um, out of Community when they built the pillar fort over the whole campus.
Amazing.
Oh, it's so good. It's just like all all of these shoots are just like in these massive tunnels of a pillow fort, and
Oh,
they it turns out that in this pillow fort that goes to the whole campus of this community college, they form nations and have
Oh
war.
my god.
It's so good.
Yes. That's not a bad time.
I'm looking at pictures of it right now.
Oh,
It's
did
great.
you see it?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It looks crazy. Oh,
Remember
I
the
love it.
episode of Adventure Time where Finn, yes, I named myself after the Adventure Time character. Um,
Acceptable.
it goes into like a pill world and like everything's made of, and like I forget how to actually explain it, but he's like there for years. Like he grow old, he marries a pill woman, has pill kids,
Oh my
and
god.
and then
Yeah.
he like I think he like grows old and dies, but then he's like back
Yes,
as
yes.
his regular self into the normal world. It's really fucking weird.
Exactly.
Crazy.
That's a really nice episode. I like that one. Adventure Time has inexplicable depth of narrative
Oh, it's
and world building to it. It's really
so
good.
good. Look, a little bit. Uh, boop, boop.
Just remember when this scene of Finn being on his deathbed before he transitions back out of this pillow fort where he has been lost all this time. Remembers me back to community college where they have this outrageous war, and at the end, because of course the two best friends that started building this pillow fort are
Mm-hmm.
on different sides of this war,
But of course.
and then one of the friends is dying in the arms of the other during this fight. Oh, it's so good.
I want to offer you guys just a little something here for you to enjoy. Um, that's what it looks like out here as you look northward. It's that, and that's what you've been in for hours. And as the two of you enjoy your time together, Portobello, what do you do anything about this withdrawal on Tith's part?
Since I guess he's like toward the edge, we'll just like scoot towards the edge
Okay,
next to him and bring like a plushie over to him.
And Tithe goes to make concessions as far as you can with this quite also physical version that creeps in with this confined spaces, and just lays on their back with their head in the entrance of the pillow fort. Just that.
nice. Um, what do you do, Portobello?
I think that you can recognize that he's like trying his best. Right now, she's just like, good job. She'll take like a little teddy bear and like waddles up to him and it's like in a goofy voice, like, I say, good job. I believe in you, or something.
Um, Tithe would take the teddy bear, and I think it's a very curious picture of this massive individual with this enormous blackened hands holding this little thing very cautiously and setting it on their chest, and while looking at it, saying to Portobello with a contemplative expression, I found it curious what he was saying, accusing the unseelie court. I never felt like we would be accusers. Certainly not me. For all that I can remember, I have been the accused, never the accuser.
Portobello, you have a significant knowledge about the Fey courts we've established. Will you roll me a history check with advantage?
Okay. Clinky clanky sound. Yummy.
Yes.
It's a little loud when it's right in front of me, but it probably sounds better through video. Okay.
So I know that it's always cute little animals with hats, but what is this shiglet wearing?
Oh, a tiny cowboy hat.
Oh, it's a tiny cowboy hat. God.
Yeehaw.
It first looked like a I don't know the name of them, like this like the Latin dances and have like this cabreros and this black outfit with the tassels and all, and have these straight edged hats. I don't know the name of them. Oh god damn.
Flamenco?
Yes. Flamenco dancers often have this kind of hats. Yeah, that's right. It looked like one of them first.
Anyway, says a 24.
Okay.
I rolled a 10 and a 19.
All right, fine. I will read
Read the wiki
thing.
again.
I will cast exposition.
Wait. Now IRL have to like set up a little fort and get comfy for story time here.
We're gonna keep this one's gonna be a little more brief.
So for they might cast exposition to the hungered masses,
nice.
so they might be free.
Fey and Fey lords and ladies in winter. Remember, deals with the Fey carry a certain degree of risk, especially Archfey or the Greater Fey of winter. Winter is a season of death and loss. Fey from the winter courts typically deal and are empowered by sorrow, much like how autumn deals with fear or summer in wrath. You can have powerful ice hags and even greater Fey seeking out sorrows, especially unique, complex ones. Tragedies are very delightful for winter Fae, at least the traditional variety. Most winter Fae are cruel, emotionless, and often ruthless. Others can be sly and mischievous, like most Fae, but with a tinge of cruelty. The few winter Fae are gentle or kind or carrying. saints, gods, and spirits of winter are often great inspirations for Fae of this court. Um, so essentially, just to give y'all the overview there, these are some dangerous motherfuckers.
So is that why I had depression? Because of the winter phase?
Yes.
It's all Jan Sealy.
Oh, dang it!
It's just
Dang you, Fae court
an
mother.
accumulation of unseelie in your system.
Yeah, you got to flush that out with some sweet, sweet summer sauce.
Yeah.
What is summer sauce?
I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I do not know if Tithe is privy to that information, but just for my sanity's sake, do you hardly know the name? There is a name of an unseelie unseelie folk heritage that are like giants with blue skin and I think one eye.
Oh, the frost giants.
It's something like that, but I cannot quite remember if it was frost giants or not. But they are like closely tied to the winter court. I think even the queen of the winter court is one of them. Damn.
Not in this world, and we'll tell you why in just a minute.
I didn't want to make assumption.
Yeah.
How you build it. It's just
let's go through it since you know so much, since you're so damn smart. The members of the Sealy Court or Winter Court are as follows: the North Wind, the literal wind, a powerful spirit that embodies and manages the cold north winds, often heralding the coming of winter. A stubborn, unrelenting fae that takes anything it wants and stomps or freezes over those who oppose the march of winter. Shion, the Snow Maiden, a mighty wind nymph, often associated with snow. A beauty that possibly rivals that of Queen Mab, as she is known. But she is especially shallow and fickle. Sometimes kind to travelers. When she is angered, she summons powerful snowstorms and blizzards against the unworthy. It is rumored that the most beautiful snowflakes that fall in the winter sky are made from her tears, only shed for those worthy. The Prince of Frost, a former winter fae of mischievous deeds and pranks. The prince eventually found himself a mortal maiden to whom he declared his love, but upon being rejected by her, it left him heartless and cold and emotionless. And then Santa Claus. Y'all know Santa Claus. Known as Chris Kringle, and another bevy of different names. He is a kind hearted individual that resides in the cold, harsh lands of winter and brings joy to children while inspiring goodwill and good tidings to all. A community oriented fae that also enjoys festivities, feasts, games, and parties. That's right, everybody. Santa Claus is a party boy. You heard it here first.
I remember thinking about, I think it's the third movie in the Santa Claus movie series where it's
They made
where
a third one?
yeah, there was like the third. I think it was. I don't remember the second and third. I think it was the third one where like Jack Frost tries to take over the North Pole and he like kills his like daughter's parent because like he has like
I feel
it's
like I
fucking
saw
weird.
this. I feel like I saw this.
It's a fever dream.
Who the was it? Martin Short that played Jack Frost?
I don't know, and I don't know much celebrity. I don't know celebrities. I just know it's the fucking dude from Home Improvement who plays Santa.
I am a connoisseur of some degree of trash movie,
Yes.
and so I love I think it's two movies actually. I love I don't know the exact name, but where Santa Claus is a killer, and just where
Oh,
just
Klaus. Yeah, it's
yeah.
the new one with what's his dipshit face? Uh, Mel Gibson as a murderous Santa Claus.
I mean, man, it's a lot of fun.
Well,
Wow.
technically, Santa in Santa Claus did murder because the plot of it is that I forget what his actual
He
name was.
wasn't. Scott Calvin is his name.
Because he killed named Santa. That's the plot.
Yeah, it was an accident, but it still happened. But he wasn't Santa Claus when he killed him. But it does bring up a very interesting point that he had a card on him that very specifically like stated that like in case of death, whoever finds this becomes the next Santa Claus, which means that that wasn't the first Santa Claus.
Yeah, there's probably been like hundreds.
There's been a bunch apparently. Yes,
This war.
Martin. Yeah, there's been a war against this. That's the war on Christmas. Is
No, I said
people
lore.
just
Santa Claus lore.
well, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna translate into war on Christmas, and that's what's happening. People are trying to kill Santa Claus all the time.
Yeah. So just what
I think of a war on Christmas because like all the Christians think that like atheists are trying to like get rid of Christmas.
Weird. Martin Short was trying to get rid of Christmas as Jack Frost.
Well, he was trying to like take over Christmas because he was jealous of Santa being loved, so he was trying to become Santa.
That's very in line with Jack Frost, or in this case, the Prince of Frost.
Distinctly in my head is the part where after he's like become Santa, he puts on a show in the North Pole. He turns like the factory into like a fucking like tourist attraction, and he's putting on a show where he sings the song, like I don't know what it's actually called, but New York, New York.
Yes.
But he makes it North Pole.
Wow.
And there's like a bunch of elves that look really happy to be there. There's like one playing the piano. They look so fucking dead inside.
So amazing. It's amazing.
Just a thing. I found what I was thinking about. It is Fomorians. Fomorians, giant kin.
Yes.
And they are associated with the Unseelie cult.
Yeah, they are individuals who have been corrupted by upsetting the Seelie court, and are forced to live a dejected life, generally underground. We actually are. I love that you reminded me of their name, because there's a chance you might stumble across one or two, or at least understand their role in the court, because they are
Man, I'm just a sucker for lore, and especially if this lore is related to mythology or aspects of legends that are based in real human historic culture. It's amazing. And Fomorians are something very interesting here. And what I remember was, I think it was a campaign or a module where the Fomorians rise under a queen that takes over the Unseelie court and becomes the new queen of it.
I don't. Boy, howdy, y'all. I don't. I mean, I'm not going to try and stop you, but I think that might be above your pay grade currently. Yeah. Just saying. Doop, 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 yeah. Um, Last but not least, Queen Mab, the Queen of Air and Darkness, as she is more commonly referred to as. The Winter Queen. She is technically the sole ruler of the Unseelie Court. Everyone else is a member of the court. They have zero say whatsoever in how things go down. This is not a democracy. Um, she is considered to be, one would say, lawful evil. Um, but she doesn't have like she doesn't have like evil grand intentions. She's done it. She's got it. She's got the Winter Court. It's hers. She's
She
not.
got the moves.
Yeah, she's got the looks. She is she's sort of the other side of the coin from Titania.
And it's like the thing, Unseelie and Seelie is not really like as simple as good and bad.
Yeah.
It's just a accumulation of certain feelings and certain
Yes.
associations and um things like this and Unseelie, they are more the negative ones. It's like hate and it's suffering and it's pain more than it is
Yep.
light and happiness and kindness for someone.
Mab is often associated with emotionlessness, cruelty, harshness, and a cold demeanor. She is thought of in lore as a creature of great hatred, and when she speaks, it is a reminder of the storm of hate inside of her. While she can be compassionate, it is a display that could be attributed to weakness, and so she is pretty much never seen as being compassionate, especially in front of others. Um, yeah. Um, do 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 do. Oh, yeah. Hey, Portobella.
Yeah.
She's Titania's sister, and with a 24, because that's so good. I cannot find a reason to keep anything from you at all. Bear with me here. Do 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 do. You guys could just think of Jessica standing at the stove, shimmying her butt as she makes another mug.
Intermission.
Yeah, exactly.
Right back.
Yeah. After these messages, we'll be right back. Uh, um,
Just like a Monster Hunter loading screen.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yes. So, once the Queen of Air and Darkness was the sister of Queen Titania, ruler of the Fae, in the land of Ladinian. But One day, a group of dwarves who had been mining in a mountain to the south brought to the Sealy court a great 10-faceted black diamond, which they offered as a gift to the Fey Queen. However, Titania was not there to collect it, and Mab accepted the gift instead. Unfortunately, the diamond began to corrupt her, transforming her nature, and one day she took the diamond and other extensive magical treasures and left in a chariot of smoke and fire that was said to have appeared from the sky, having swept down and whisked her away. Sometime later, the mountain that those dwarves were mining caught fire and caused a sickening smoke to cover the land. But wait, there's more. At that, you also realize that Queen Mab does not frequently take corporeal form. Her soul is trapped inside of that diamond, which rests atop a pillar. This is like one of the books on the shelf to your right that you're reading to Typh, like a
What I was
children's
about to
story, like
say,
a
but
bedtime story.
she does have her druidic focus is like that like magic book that like kind of opens to whatever she needs. So I was imagining that she was like reading
Nice.
a fucking corrupt fairy tale.
Yep.
It's a Hans Christian Andersen.
It's also an interesting
100%.
thing that you mentioned this.
You're literally reading the Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen.
I find it very interesting that you mentioned this explicit bit of this larger narrative of Maud, because basically the imagery of this, because that is how it is told, that after it was set ablaze, this brimstone mountain was ever burning.
Yes.
And smoke ever billowing out of it.
Yes.
In such a thickness and viscosity that it changed the landscape around this ever-burning mountain to a hellscape.
Yeah.
And this imagery was actually informing people like people like the writer of the Divine Comedy.
Yes, I was going to say that sounds like the Inferno, right?
Like Dante Alighieri was informed in his very prominent depiction. Basically, if you think of hell, you think of Dante's hell, how he describes it,
right.
And he was very much informed by aspects of folklore like this one.
Yeah, it's real. What else? That's about it for the Unseelie Court, though. By way of who's involved, which is going to be the extent of what you get. Questions, comments, or secret ambitions from either of you?
I guess this is a comment. I don't know what we're gonna do because we weren't really told what we're supposed to do. We're just told we're supposed to go there. So what do we even tell them when we get there? That's not a question you answer. That's up to us. I know, but I'm just stating it.
Seems like a good prompt for you for Typh and Portobello.
Gotta start writing their speech.
Yeah.
I mean, do you ask this question after you recount the story?
So yeah.
Ty stands up, brings himself in an upward position, and just turns so that he sits with his legs crossed in front of the entrance of the pillar form, and with a very clear expression that he somehow or they somehow know what they are talking about. Usually, you don't ask questions and you don't hold speeches. These kind of people, you show what your intent is by action.
Well, what kind of action?
I think when it will come to it, that will not be our decision, but theirs.
I guess um you're right. Um you have to try to stay calm though. That getting angry in front of any of them will lead to bad.
Looking down at their hands and turning a little bit. I don't think that really I am that I'm that agitated. I just think I'm always a little bit angry. Maybe it's part of my nature. But the moment I feel calm,
I'll offer this up. Y'all gonna have to work on Phileas. Phileas is the linchpin here, y'all.
Little chihuahua.
Yeah, four eels.
yeah, I was just thinking at the beginning as you said, yeah, you two do something in the village in Santa's village while Phillies have a conversation with Santa Claus. I was just thinking, man, that's a one-sided conversation. That's just Phillies asking, "Where's Willow?"
Just shaking the old man, just shaking him. What do you think?
I don't know, and I don't think Bell really knows either. But
That's fair. Uh, roll me an insight check, would you, Portobello?
19.
Okay. Okay. So you think that the easiest way to do this would be to have Chris introduce just one of you. One of you with a temperament that is unwavering, one who is charismatic and knowledgeable, someone who can align themselves with these Fey individuals and prove themselves to be the kind of person they can trust.
Or you can do it Gandalf style and just call them in one by one as you tell the story.
But yeah, then Portobello, Honey Child, those thoughts send a shiver up your spine as you realize that it has to be you.
Internal screaming.
I'll Tears for Fears put it. Shout, shout, let it all out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tears for Fears.
So I don't know what Portobello wants to do with that, but it's the current state of affairs.
I don't think she want to share those thoughts because she doesn't want like Type to like feel inferior. Like doesn't want him to feel bad about his anger issues.
Fair, fair.
You think you have to make him feel inferior? That's a wild assumption.
I know he already hates himself, but I don't want to make it worse.
So what do you do? It's starting to get late. Well, time's sort of weird here in the winter court.
Oh, that was just like one of the smoothest Netflix and chill transitions. So, what are you gonna do? It's getting late.
Yeah, it's real, real.
I think it's sleepy time. Just try to sleep off the anxiety, which is not gonna work, but we'll try.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Tyth, what are you sleeping on there, buddy? What are you sleeping on? Just curling up at the end of the bed, like a little good boy, like a good boy.
Yeah, curled up like a dog on a comfortable blanket in front of the pillow fort. Yeah, basically.
I mean, if he's not gonna object, he will be cuddled. He will be put on the bed.
All right, yeah, you just scoop him up and just roll.
Just
No,
roll.
no, yeah, just roll. Both of you just roll around.
Yeah, we're rolling with it. We cannot do much more.
We can't roll
We're trying
anymore.
to. We cannot roll anymore than we're rolling already.
I want to take a minute for Type here. Because Type, this is a pretty unique experience, and I think that it's in line with your character that you don't participate willingly, but you feel beholden to your friends, and you know that telling Portobella that you can't would hurt her, and you can't you don't you your respect outweighs your discomfort. That's how I've sort of seen Type.
Yeah, kids, listen up. Tithe does nothing but respect.
Yeah, it's true. Respect. Respect people who respect you.
He sips his respect women juice.
Yeah. Have a sip, everybody.
And while you're at it, go to whole yachts. Just respect everybody. Start with women. Respect everybody.
That's more than a sip there. Oh no! That's a lot of respecting you're doing there.
It's true. Hey y'all, just a quick aside. Trans women are women. Respect them too. Don't respect
That is the
everyone.
question.
Don't respect everyone.
Well,
treat people with an essence of humanity.
yeah.
You don't have
Extend
to
and
you don't have to
offer respect in the first place.
and then rip it away if they do anything wrong about it.
Exactly. Extend and offer respect in the first place to everybody equally. And if this individual turns out to not deserve this respect, then you can take it away.
Excuse me, this is fine. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. You have a little bit of my respect.
You
there.
have a little bit of my respect on you.
I have to take
Smidge, let me
this.
get that for you. As you feel this embrace, we see almost as if the two of you beginning to slumber dims the candles in this room, and you are left with just the soft orangey yellow illumination pouring out of the hinges on this potbelly stove. And uh, yeah, Tyth, I'm gonna need a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
Man, D&D, you can say what you want, but D&D Beyond, you're a good application, but your dice are shit. Hot garbage. It's an 11 and a 10.
I Portobello. About a minute into this, you're getting snuggled, party. You hear, and it takes about 5 more seconds before you begin to uh, feel Typh trembling and then beginning to sob. And as the two of you are curled together, uh, I think we see Portobello. You sort of doff your now Portobello capped hat and sort of snuggle closer to Tyth. And even as you try and stifle this teary outburst into a pillow, it cannot hide the emotional release of being this close to someone that you care about cares for you. And we see Portobello reach down and grab a thick quilted blanket and pull it up over the two of you. And as we back away, we see a tear fall across Tith's eye, and in its reflection, we can see this mountain here. And as we zoom in, we see it twist and distend and zoom in, and down a rocky corridor, we dive deeper into this mountain. And suddenly we can hear the ringing of pickaxes and the sound of carts being wheeled. And as we enter this tremendous chamber, in the center of the mountain, you see a stalagmite climbing up a dozen stories or more. And atop it, there is a 10-sided diamond, kind of like this. And it spins very slowly around. And as it does, you can see the reflections of scaffolding that climbs up and up and up. And you see twisted, bloated, extended bodies swinging pickaxes and grabbing huge chunks of coal, which they lob down and shatter onto the ground, the base of this mountain. That is where I'll leave you.
And what that was a very endearing and emotional scene you put together with at the end with Portobello and Tithe. And just to sully it a little
Finn,
bit.
Finn did it. Finn did it. Finn did it. I'm not responsible
Yeah,
for that. I just work here.
That's true. I just work here.
I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge of shit.
And just to sully it a little bit, because that is beautiful but messy. Because we all know Tithe cries tears of blood.
Ah, fair. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No, yeah, just a regular ass salty tear. Yeah,
That's unusual, okay?
yeah, yeah. No, that's real. Um,
How could I was confused about like if vampires gotta drink blood, do vampires have their own blood?
no, they take it from others.
Yeah, so like yeah, and it's
I mean, they do have blood.
If you go by the very extensive explanations and reasoning of Vampire the Masquerade, it's basically not so much that vampires have their own blood, but when vampires take blood from someone else, they enriching it in their very changed morphology comparing to humans to vitae, and vitae is not quite blood; it's vampire blood. It's something else. It's more powerful in a sense, and it's very specific for the vampire.
Which
And
leaves them with a vitamin D deficiency that they just
yeah,
have to.
it's crazy.
They get rickets, and really that's why they drink other people's blood, is to keep from getting rickets.
what's a ricket?
It's something that used to only affect old people who never went outside, and now whole generations of young people are getting it because they don't get enough vitamin D from exposure to the sun.
Yeah,
And that's
real.
where I'll leave you tonight.
And by this depressing thought, I leave you.
Yes, it was great to see you two tonight. I'm so glad we got to hang out and do this. I really had a great time. Thank
And it was a
you
really,
so
really
much.
lovely session. Thank you, Finn.
Yeah, Finn.
It was really cool connections.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really feel like singing, but I have a song that I think is appropriate. So I don't know. Should I just like send it to the chat or something? Because I don't.
Hit us in the Discord.
Maybe I'll sing it some other time, but I don't think I really have.
You want to open next week with it?
Oh, that's a good idea. I mean, you can see how you feel it. You can see how you feel it. Maybe
Unfortunately, I must bid you adieu, au revoir, and remind you as always, good care of yourselves, and if you can't be good, don't get caught. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, you two.